Hey everybody, it's April. How you doing today? I'm so glad that you joined us tonight on Facebook and all the other platforms. For the last 6 weeks, I've been hosting Conversations in Chaos, an open dialogue about what's currently going on in the world, from the protests for Breonna Taylor and injustices towards the Black community that are continuing to plague our community. And I wanted to get a different outlook on what's currently happening. So tonight I am going to have a special guest, and this is Conversations in Chaos with Zeus Campbell. As you know, as a Norfolk State Behold alum, he has broken barriers in the media industry. He is an actor, a writer, producer. He was the drum major. He's a musician. He's a Renaissance man. He also has been featured in multiple commercials and content for BuzzFeed, and most notably is his recent feature in the short film called Skin, in which the production won an Oscar, an Academy Award for Best Live Action Short Film. And his hard work and dedication to leave an impact on the Black community has really paid off and is definitely shining through. So let's welcome Zeus Campbell. Hey Zeus, how you doing?
Hello. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to catch up with you. I remember seeing a feature in the Behold magazine that was at my dad's house about a year or more ago. And I was like, who is this young man? And then you came across my social also. And I was like, I need to reach out to this young man and see what he's doing. So here we are today. What's been going on?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for reaching out. I followed your work, just to be on your show is quite impressive on my resume. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Doing your research. Now, that's what I make all my students do. It's like, if you're going to go on a show or if you're going to do an interview, make sure you do research. So I appreciate that. So I know you've been Hollywood living, and boy, California is really hit hard with COVID-19 numbers. Are you staying safe? Is everybody good out there?
I am staying safe. I was quarantined out there for about 90 days by myself in my place. And then I actually came out to Virginia, my hometown. So I'm actually back in my hometown of Virginia right now while the COVID is going on. And Hollywood is shut down. Definitely. Real jobs are affected. A lot of my friends and fellow artists and peers, are pivoting and trying to figure out how to survive. Right until then, and just the whole industry, is just even big studio heads. Not like no one has the answer for this. So it's definitely been trying times.
Has it get your creative juices flowing as far as like trying to find other ways to get at content or other ways to produce content?
Well, it's hard to make content without chaos. I mean, and I mean that in the most artistic of ways. Nina Simone had a bar that I love. She said an artist's responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. So with so much going on, I think it's a really good time for us to get a good look at what's going on in the world, not just our country, and for artists to do what they do, which is start speaking.
Right. Some artists have been speaking. Some were a little bit hesitant to speak. Some are speaking a little too much, and just depends on who you're asking. And I know that you're a comedian, among other things, but I really wanted you to be real with us today to talk about, Black Lives Matter, that trend, not just the movement, but also the organization, because often people have to separate the two because they don't always agree with everything with the organization, but they agree with the movement. So what's your take on everything that's going on right now in our world?
I think that it's not the time for talking about debates and things like that. I think that's a very important part of the process of bringing us together as a whole. However, when people are being killed right now, we must focus on emergent, what's priority first, which is if anyone, black, white, yellow, or purple, think it's okay what happened to George Floyd, or what's the justice that has not been given to Breonna Taylor, right, and so many other names, then you really have to question what what race are you a part of? Because as far as I'm concerned, we need to focus on the human race. And the human race cannot be complete without Black lives. Black lives matter. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. So personally, what is your take on everything that's going on? Have you had experiences as a Black man? I'd be surprised if you haven't, but have you had run-ins with police officers or situations where it was obvious that someone was discriminating or prejudging you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm from Virginia. So Virginia has a history, right? Yeah. Just talking about the history of Virginia, we can all agree. Anyone that follows history can say we have a history of prejudice and racism, right? Yeah. It's racist or prejudice in all over the places. I think it's too many labels being thrown around. But to answer your question, I have experienced, people not liking me just because they think I'm a big, scary Black man or I'm a thug because I don't know, and I've always experienced that. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. And as a child, I knew to not drive into Virginia Beach, that I was not wanted there. I'm not saying that's the climate of Virginia Beach now, but I'm not saying it's not either. I'm just saying that as a whole, not just 757 Virginia, not just as a country, we all need to really take a look at what is the end goal here? Yeah. What are we doing? Because I don't want to debate when my people are dying, when any people are dying, right? Let's just say not just Black people. Let's just say, I don't know, Asian people were dying. As a human being, I cannot be okay with people dying senselessly. Yet I'm trying to sit here and focus on other conversations which are important. However, not the meat and potatoes of what's going on. Yeah,
yeah. What do you think about when folks start getting into other areas of other things mattering? And, right now the focus seems to be on Black lives mattering, but there are other organizations that are trying to piggyback off of this movement. And certainly they have their own right to have their own movement. But right now, the focus tends to be on police brutality against Black people.
Absolutely. It's easy to piggyback, right? When I was a kid, my grandfather, he was like, said something. It's like, if you get out of class, you tell the teacher, hey, I'm sick. Can I go to the nurse? You're really sick. I'm sick. I go to the nurse. And then somebody else says, oh man, he went to go to the nurse. I'm not sick at all. But I think I should be in the conversation because I should always be in the conversation of something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
So I'm going to say, hey, I should go to the nurse too. It's like, well, you're not sick and you're fine, so you don't need to. Well, all of us should be able to go to the nurse's office if we're sick. So some people are saying they're sick.
Right. They're
not really sick.
Or they're coming down with sickness and they're sick, but they've decided to come down with it at this moment.
Well, it's comparison.
Right.
We have to stop comparing suffering because there's no end goal in that is my point. I'm not limiting other people's suffering or other people's movements that are extremely important. But what I am saying is I'm a supporter of the gay community, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not a gay male, but I'm a supporter of the gay community because I have friends that are gay and I'm a human being. And if I'm at a gay community rally and we're focused on, I don't know, something trying to get positive things changing for the gay community, I'm not going to bring the Black narrative to it. This is not the time.
And us too. Right.
And us too. You see what I'm saying? So when Black people are talking Black stuff, if you're not focused on Black community, then you need to step out. This is not a flea market where everybody's going to have this is a specific issue that needs specific conversation. Right. Conversation, not self-attention.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right. So you talked about growing up in Norfolk.
Norfolk. I'm glad you said that. Norfolk. That's right.
You got to say it right. Don't even get cute and go to LA and be like, I'm from Norfolk. Because it's Norfolk. It's Norfolk.
I correct people. Yeah, I do.
You got to. Okay, so I was trying to get to the nitty gritty of some experiences that you had. So I'm going to share one of my experiences growing up in this area, and then you can share one of yours.
Okay.
So when I was growing up in this area, I went to school at elementary school in Virginia Beach. And apparently what had happened was the kids on the bus that would ride the bus with, when they would get in trouble, their punishment would be to sit with the lone Black girl, which was me. And Lucy, my mama, Dr. Lucy Wilson. If you know her, then you already are feeling the fear in your heart. But if you don't know her, you're thinking, oh, what a nice 90-year-old lady. But back then she wasn't 90, and she was a chairman of the school board. And, you know, she was a fighter and advocate for her children. And she let them know, and she could use any kind of colorful language, whether it's 4-letter words or words that left them wondering, were they just laid out and they had to look in a dictionary and try to figure out what she just said to them. So that was one of the experiences that I had growing up here. And that I think that is one of the first ones. I know that I wasn't invited to the slumber party in my cul-de-sac because the family was concerned about interracial marriage, even though it was a girls' slumber party I was going to. Anyway, so that is not, you know, police brutality. That is not on the level we're talking about. I've had run-in with police that were not fair, but never anything to the, you know, extent of somebody trying to kill me and putting a knee on my neck. But I think Absolutely. We've all had experience. Can you describe, from whenever you can remember, your first experience when you realized that you were different and someone had discriminated against you based on your skin color?
You know, I have an analogy I kick around with, right? Because I like simplistic things in a complicated world. And to me, injustice is like a hospital. It's a lot of different reasons people are in a hospital. It's a lot of different injustices out here.
Yeah.
I could be in the hospital because my arm is completely gone. You could be in the hospital because you have cancer, for God, you know, God forbid. Yeah. But it's all injustice. It's all suffering. So I think the problem with us is we try to say, well, my arm is gone, so my suffering is way more. And then we say, well, I got cancer. You know, somebody discriminated against me for a job. Well, okay, we're all in the hospital. So I've experienced a lot of indirect prejudice for jobs, meaning it's been plenty of times that I was very much capable in a job setting. I'll say that teachers growing up let me know very limitedly that I don't know, man. It's weird because I've never had a police officer come and put a knee on my neck, right? Because God forbid, I had a mother that kept me out of the streets. And also, too, I'm very fast back in the day, and I was good at hiding and things. Thank God. So I didn't get caught by any police. And when I say caught, I mean just breathing around them. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I always knew that. One time I did get pulled over in Virginia Beach. And that's the only time I've ever been pulled over in Virginia, period. And I'm from here. I've never been pulled over in Norfolk, ever. And the moment I crossed over into Virginia Beach Town Center, I was going there because I was actually doing a show at the Funny Bone where I was headlining. It was I was my Hump Day Romance show. We were doing season 2, and I was doing it, and they pulled me over, and I was, asking why, whatever the case may be, and they gave me no legitimate reason. They said, my lights or something. I was like, well, what are you talking about? Well, where do you live? Why does that matter?
Right.
Are we having a sleepover, sir? Because it's quite informal. So right. Those things were a lot more subtle. But also, when you're Black, to be honest, when you're Black, you're taught to have thick skin at like 2 years old. So certain things roll off my back so much because I knew who I was. So I just never allowed anybody's self-image of me to become my reality. So maybe that's why a lot of memories are not coming to me right now, because I always knew who I was. My mother made sure of that. Sure of that. Thank you, Janice Campbell Thomas. She made sure of that. So
sorry about my dog barking. I guess someone's at the door. I'm doing this from my house. So, well, let me ask you this. Did Miss Campbell Thomas, did she have to go through all of the measures and complying with you?
I'll tell you this. I watched a lot of friends get abused by the police, and things like that. And with my mom in particular, I watched my mom work for the city of Norfolk and other places for years, run the entire place. And because of the color of her skin, she never got the promotion or the money that she deserved. She was doing other people's work. Not because they were doing the work, but because she just wasn't born with the right skin color.
Gosh.
And I know that for an absolute fact. My grandfather, he only had a 5th grade education, Coy James Campbell, and he had several businesses here in Norfolk, Virginia, and he also in North Carolina. But because of the systematic blocks that have been for African Americans, his businesses got taken. he was put to jail for doing the same thing that other people were doing. Wow. So, you know, sometimes a knee on your neck isn't as bad as your great-great-grandchildren 25 years from now still having the same amount of money you have in your account now. To me, I'll take the knee on the neck for my grandkids and great grandkids to be able to not have to go through the poverty I went through.
That's real. That's real. Okay. So, I mean, you're a deep young man. Obviously, you use metaphors, you use quotes, you're well-read. When did you know that you were an artist? How long did it take before you knew this is what I need to be doing with my life? Did it take a while, or did you know from very early age?
No. To be honest, I didn't even pick up a pen or try to write anything until 2012. That's the first time I wrote anything. And
even for school? I mean,
I was never interested in acting at all, period. I was always into like music and rapping. And, you know, Norview people knew me as, you know, I used to rap out on 103 Jams, DJ B. I was like his battle champion. He had to retire. Like I was into like the music rapping thing.
I know him.
Shout out to DJ B.
Shout out
DJ B, a legend, man. He the one, not the two. Shout out to B. But
oh my gosh.
But you know, with that is to be honest, I just recently I'm just very recently this year and now understanding that I am an artist. And only reason I've understood that is because of all of the challenges and pain. And when I say pain, I mean in a very forward progressive type of pain in terms of stretching yourself type of pain, right? That pain I'm now understanding to turn into purpose. You know what? Robert Townsend is one of my favorite people ever. And he had a bar in one of my favorite movies, Five Heartbeats, his character. And his character Duck was up there accepting his award, you know, the Hall of Fame. And he said, you know, somebody told me something. He said he was receiving the Best Songwriters Award. He said, somebody said in an interview one time that Duck will be a much better writer once he experiences pain. And then he said, I want to thank my wife and my brother for helping me with that pain. And I said, oh, okay.
But that's layered with so much truth, because I mean, what are you going to sing about? What are you going to write about? What are you going to talk about unless you've been through something, right?
Chris Rock had an interview. It wasn't a verbal interview, right? But it was a magazine. And I have this on my vision board wall last year. It's still in my mother's house in her garage. But on it, it's Chris Rock cut out and it says, a perfect life makes for horrible art.
Okay. I like that. Okay, Chris Rock.
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Rock, his new cornrows.
He's watching tonight. Hey, Chris, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, new cornrows, Chris? I saw them 5 straight backs.
All right. So if you started realizing you were an artist just as recent as 2012, when did you realize that your art had to have a message and it had to be layered and it had to be about helping people and using your platform to express your opinion and express your position on different issues?
Well, I to clarify, I just started realizing I'm an artist in 2020. That's one.
Okay, wait.
No, you're good. No, I'm gonna clarify. In 2012 is the first time that I ever wrote any type of acting, anything. I was never trained. Okay. I just literally was a guy in a cubicle with a suit on, because I was a social worker at the time for Norfolk Workforce Development. Shout out to my people over there still fighting the good fight. I was a social worker. You were a social worker wearing a suit in a cubicle? That was my sentence. And that's what they gave me. But the people around me were like extremely sweet and nurtured me. And they knew, you know, they was like, they were very supportive of my dream. They weren't hating at all. So shout out to them. But I say all that to say that in that time frame, I hated my job. Of course. Yeah, because you're an artist. Right. I love the people, but I hated my job in terms of the finance. I did like helping the people that I was helping, though. Right. But what I learned was discomfort makes us, at least a person like me, discomfort brings the best out of me. You know, and that's when I said, well, let me just start writing down how I feel and just what I think and just being funny and just, you know, just talking. And that's what happened. Now, as far as me being conscious as an artist, I really don't think that that's something that is a finish line you ever really get to. I think once I get to one level, for example, the 4 years that I've been in LA, I thought I was doing a certain level of consciousness, which I was, and with my art, right? But now that I've come here and I've been meditating and sitting with just what's going on. Now I'm understanding a even higher purpose. And that is the process of human beings in general. Constantly evolve, self-educate, ask yourself what's important. Because to me, Hollywood is a tool, and it's great people out there. I have some great relationships and friends out there. But I am from Virginia. Norfolk. Let it be known. And it's a lot of talented people here on the soil. And we have our own issues here that we have to, address and work on. So, yeah.
Okay. Now, we were having a conversation, and I got that you were a social worker, but at one point you were a writer, and you were writing in English and in Spanish. Can you explain that and break it down for me?
Yeah. Okay. So I have quite silently been a scripted writer, producer, on camera, different capacities like that for the past 2.5-ish, 3 years for the second or third largest digital network in the world, BuzzFeed. Shout out to BuzzFeed, man. And what happened was a great, very talented friend of mine. She was at BuzzFeed, and she was Latina, and she was fierce, and she was funny, and we happened to be very good friends, and we would write together. She was from the Latino community, I was from here, and she really appreciated my comedy, and I appreciated her. So what happened was we just started tossing around ideas. She actually was, brought me in there, and said, hey, this guy has some great ideas. And I met other people through there. So shout out to Jaleesa Calderon, shout out to Perolite, shout out to Gadiel, Odorbe. Them Spanish names get me sometimes. And my
so
real
are you Spanish? Because your name is Jesus.
Exactly. I'm Puerto Rican. Yes. My name is Jesus Manuel, actually. So yeah, my father's Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Absolutely. Claro que sí. Don't ask me not much more than that.
No, look, that's it.
I'm getting there. But at BuzzFeed though, she was teaching me Spanish and encouraging me because my father left when I was 3 months old. So I've been distanced from that entire. I actually didn't meet my entire side of the family until almost out of Norfolk State.
Wow.
I was already an alpha. I was getting ready to graduate. And that's when I met them, my whole side of that Latino family, kind of like Antoine Fisher. You saw that movie, Antoine? It was like that, but the Latino version, a little salsa, a little bit, but it was very cool. And so I've had to learn and understand that I need to rediscover. It's a side of me I don't know. So BuzzFeed had Perolite, and they said, man, come and do some funny stuff. And they allowed me to come and share their platform. And I also did a Black History animation for the Black History Month for BuzzFeed. And I was able to get some real conscious messaging and, some great things. So BuzzFeed was real good to me.
Yeah.
Real good to me.
So would you say first you're a comedian, or would you put anything in order? Just be like, I'm just me. I'm just Zeus.
Well, first I'm a father. That's one thing. I got a whole baby.
You do? A whole baby?
I got a whole baby. She's 3 years old. Shout out to my child, Top Rope Zoe. And but Top Rope Zoe, my baby, I'm a father first, but I'm an artist, and I'm a professional truth teller. I just say my opinions. Nothing is facts. I'm just literally letting people into my mind, right? And a lot of things are exaggerated. That's what, some people know me mostly from my show Hump Day Romance, which is a relationship sketch comedy show that I created on my YouTube channel. And it was just merely me just talking and just letting people into my brain, and whether it be monologue and then sketches and say, hey, this is kind of how it felt to me, even though I know it wasn't like that in real life. And that has been the platform that really has propelled me to Hollywood, because my management and everybody in Hollywood found me 3,000 miles across the country in Virginia because of my show that I created here in Virginia. So when people say you can't do it, it's just simply not factual.
Wow. And I think this is some pictures. Is that from one of you? That show?
That is from my BuzzFeed. So this is a BuzzFeed video that I wrote and co-produced with one of the great BuzzFeed producers there. But I wanted to see what it would be like to have my hairline back.
Oh, look at that.
And so that's a fake hairline.
Oh, shut up.
That's fake. That it's a $600 hairline, actually.
What?
It's called a man unit hair wig, and apparently it's like big in Atlanta and all these other places. So I was like, man, I want to see what my glory would be like, because me and my hairline was real tight.
So you had a weave?
Yeah, a man weave.
A man weave. Okay.
Yeah, a man
All
weave.
right. All right. Well, let me see if we have any. We have a bunch of comments and stuff. I've just been enjoying talking to you, but I'm trying to see if anybody has any questions so far. Yeah, somebody said man weave. They knew that. Wow. They're saying they love that movie. I guess you were talking about the movie earlier. Okay, well, we'll see. Okay, here's a question. So often Black comedians do not get the opportunity to transition into film. How has your experience been, Zeus?
Great question. My experience has been one of not the common road. Simply because I chose, and this is just my personal, I chose to take the uncommon road, which was to focus more on myself and build my own table, which is what I've slowly been trying to do, starting with my platforms. So I really haven't had a problem transitioning into movies, because if I want to be in a movie, I'll just write me a movie and call my friends who are interested in making a movie, and then I'm in a movie. So I would tell my artists, actors, don't wait for this imaginary permission. Don't do that. Just see what you want to do, and then make it happen. Find some like-minded individuals, right? And see what you can contribute to the team. Contribute. Don't just find someone to say, hey, can you do the work for me?
Right.
Find what you can contribute, and then let's make a gumbo pot. But it is hard for Hollywood was not checking for me in these past 4 years. Let me say that. It's a reason y'all have not seen me in like television, right? Like movies. I am right now on a television show on BT, but it's not a regular role, so I don't really want to mention it. But people have been saying they saw me. But shout out to the BET family business. Shout out to them. They were great to me.
My former employer, BET, too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we were on the topic of comedians, so I have to bring up what's going on with Nick Cannon. So for those of you who don't know, I'll give you the quick synopsis, but you can Google it and look up all the information. But essentially, he recently hosted an episode of his podcast called Cannon Class, and it featured the controversial hip hop star Richard Griffin, aka Professor Griff, of the rap group Public Enemy. And Viacom CBS says he perpetuated anti-Semitic controversies, conspiracies, excuse me, and when he cited Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he lost his job from CBS Viacom, and that includes his Wild 'N Out show. Your thoughts?
It's a lot to think about.
I know.
That's a very a lot going on. I will speak to only that I'm comfortable and educated to really educated opinion on. I think that conversation intentional. I think Nick Cannon's intentions were to aid and to promote education. At those type of conversations can come off very, very, very raw. And those opinions and facts, people take their religions and their communities and their way of life very seriously. So I think that, for one, we have to not crucify people for saying something incorrect. That's what the part of corrections for. So if forgiveness has to be a part of our way, if we're gonna, but I think that he apologized. I think that it's interesting to me that Nick Cannon has done so much for the African-American community, right? I think that that conversation should have been done in a different way. He should have had someone from the Jewish community there participating in the conversation to be represented.
Well, his business partner, who he's worked with for 3 years, is Jewish,
Right, absolutely. And but here's the thing, I don't speak for all Black people. I don't speak for all bald or bearded people or Virginia people.
Right.
So we need to stop deeming people as leaders when they're just, if we do have this freedom of speech.
Right.
I put, quotations because it doesn't really seem that free. But I think that if Nick Cannon feels like he said wrong and he offended that community, I feel like he should do what he feels best as a man.
Should he be canceled?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I think it's interesting how we cancel Nick. Let's just not say Nick Cannon. I think it's interesting how we live in a country that says freedom of speech, and we want everybody matters. But soon as someone says something correct or incorrect, right? But just say a speech, their freedom of speech, that if you're a person of color, you lose your job and you lose your way of life for speaking what you believe the truth. However, the cops for Breonna Taylor has not been arrested. And how a Black man can get arrested quicker for speaking his mind, whether it be wrong or incorrect. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying speaking his mind, which he's entitled to do, but we can lose our whole way of life. But we can, white cops, black cops, police brutality can kill us and get a paid vacation. So, let's focus on Breonna Taylor. Yeah,
for sure. All right. I did want to ask you one follow-up question to that, because I know that you're creating content and you're creating your own stuff, which you did, on YouTube, which got your big break. But, he's now saying he wants the rights to Wildin' Out, which he created. However, don't you do that at the beginning of the contract? Like, if you create it and you want to walk away with your rights, isn't that something that you got to do before you get fired? Like when you sign the contract?
I definitely understand what you mean when you say that. First off, every situation is situational. I definitely believe that if it was, and I don't know Nick Cannon's situation, but I do believe that it's best practices to put up front what you want in a contract prior, so there's no confusion. So definitely, if it was me, I definitely would have ownership in for that. Do I think Nick Cannon deserves ownership? Let's be very honest. MTV was sinking without Nick Cannon. Wildin' Out saved that station. So for them to throw him away so quickly, I think is great for Nick to understand that if you could break your back and do that for that network, and even, I'm not saying, let's say Nick is wrong. Let's say Nick is wrong. So we just throw our people away. That just goes to show you how much they chew what Viacom feels of their family. Because if we're family, Viacom, right? We family. We should be able to have a discussion. If we have 20 years of being family, so that lets me know that we're not family. I'm your employee. And let's make sure that's clear. And this lets me know that Black-owned platforms are very much popular and needed in this time today. So I think Nick Cannon has his own community enough behind him where he can go off and create his own platform, create another Wildin' Out. We'll all stop watching the Wildin' Out that's on MTV and we'll watch exclusively to his platform. But we have to get together and we have to support our own. Period.
Right. Period. Okay. All right. Well, let's get to Skin, right? Don't we want to talk about Skin?
We've been talking about Skin the whole time.
No, I'm talking about the movie Skin, one that you were featured in.
Me too.
Which won you an Oscar. So give me a little background, and then we're going to play a clip. We had to really search for this clip without 4-letter words. So,
right. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your role in Skin and what that was like.
Skin was one of my favorite things I've ever done. Shout out to Guy Natif and his wonderful wife, Jamie. Skin came about because, for one, the director and myself happened to have the same management company. So they said, "Hey, Zeus," my manager hit me up. She said, "Zeus, it's a role and it's not for big money or anything, but it's I know how you tell me you want to do like biopics and real stuff that matters. And so it's a short film. If you want to do it, I know you're busy." I said, "Send it to me, D." I read it. I said, "I want to audition." And I did. And we filmed the whole movie in 4 days.
Whoa.
4 days. And you know what? The tension on that set was very real in a very artistic way. I want to, everybody actor wise showed up. Shout out to Jonathan Tucker. Showed up. And I remember when I was coming in for fitting, right? I wasn't even, and they were practicing some of the fight scenes that you guys saw. And I was watching them while I was putting on my clothes. And I just remember seeing our lead actor, black lead actor that played on coast opposite of Jonathan Tucker. I apologize as a name losing my mind, but I remember seeing him get beat down by our white actors, and they were, respectful. But I remember him looking at me, and it was a very intense 5-second look. I hadn't met him yet. He just saw another black actor on set. He was getting beat down. I looked at him, and after they said cut, everybody was cool, right? And then he looked at me and he was like, real subtle, very subtle, very subtle. And that for me was like, and even Jonathan Tucker, the white lead in it, he was so serious about making sure that we told it right, and he did his part. So it was the family there, man. Shout out to all the Lonnie, the kid Lonnie, This Is Us, superstar now. Shout out to Lonnie. And it was really good. And also a good friend of mine, Jade Pickett is also a YouTube star. His name is Big Ja. And he's also in the film as well.
Yeah, I interviewed him on my show. Big Ja, he has like the comedy things, right?
Exactly. Big Ja is one of my favorite people. We met on that set for the first time. I didn't know who he was because I was just new to LA. He saw me on set, already booked it. The first day he said, "Hump Day Romance, right? Stay in your lane."
Wow.
I was like, yeah. And then
I'm a celebrity.
But I was just like, I was like, bro, you must be bored at 12 o'clock at night. I was like, but we became serious good friends and have collaborated since. You know, he's been on my channel, I've been on his. So just shout out to him and shout out to Guy Natif, man. When I tell you, he really made sure that this film, him and his wonderful wife, made sure this film was done right and respect it. Man, such a touching work. And one thing that will always stick with me about this film, man, my daughter will be able to see it and understand it, and that's something that'll live. So yeah.
Right. Well, let's look at a clip real quick, okay?
All right.
Wow. Come back. Where'd you go?
Is my laptop's dying on me, and I was trying to I was like, wait, I might have 2 seconds to plug this thing up. I got 5%, so I didn't want you to lose me forever.
I was like, he's leaving. Oh my gosh.
No,
okay. Are you good?
No, I need to plug up. If I can get 30 seconds, that would be amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna just go through some of these comments. People are surprised that it took 4 days to shoot the entire movie. Quincy Carr, what's up, Q? Said good conversation. Every situation is situational. Zeus, he quotes him. Truth bombs. Don Miller, who's been real active. And Don has a question for you when you come back. Bradford Hardy says deep. And Don Miller is sharing a story. Don, I can hardly see this. When you were living in Orlando, you were told if you moved to Hampton Roads to never live or work in Norfolk. And if your car was broke down, it would never be recovered. I lived and worked in Norfolk and actually went out of the country for 2 weeks and accidentally left both my car windows completely down, open in Norfolk, and nothing happened. All right. Norfolk, Virginia, love. All right, Don Miller, you back now?
I am back.
Okay. Right, so talk to me about that scene. Were you able to see which one we pulled?
Yeah, I did. Okay. That scene was very quiet in terms of the direction that he gave us. And Guy, the way he gives direction is very genuine, right? He really gave us. He said, "Listen, what would you guys do?" And he asked me. He was like, you, Ja, and all my crew. They said, "Guys, what would you do? How would you do it?" And he was very open to our ideas. So it was very intense. And having Lonnie there, the kid was that's a whole nother generation that's in a situation that, even as an adult man is some intense thing to go through. So as a child in that movie, pretty intense,
Yeah.
And when I was in that moment, I just really had to put myself in there, and I think it came out so beautiful, especially the colors that's in it. And it was great.
And when you heard the movie won an Oscar, wow!
Right.
What was that like?
I didn't know what it meant. I didn't really know what anything meant. Like, you don't get a manual to these things. Yeah. You don't really get that, but what it was for me, I do remember when my manager, she told me what it meant and explained all the good stuff, and then all that was to come, because when you're a cast, that wins an Oscar, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's, you know, the cast has different appearances, red carpets, different things. And, you know, some people can make it, but you want to make it to every single thing. So it's like a real hustle about making awareness of people, about promoting the film, basically.
Yeah.
I remembering there was nothing more important for me to get on a knee and thank God that I had only been in LA for a very small amount of time. You know, people are out in LA for years before anything.
Right.
You know, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not normal. And I'm very blessed and thankful. And I was just like, man, what does this mean for the longevity of my career if this is the beginning? And it was really inspiring for me to be like, wow, you really can win with telling honest, genuine stories, not having to tell stories that you feel like is going to win you something, but you're not really connected to the story.
Yeah.
So, you know, always, you know, I've always done things that I'm truly connected to. I don't do anything that does not feed my soul, not to get too deep for people, but it's just not worth it.
That's really liberating that you can do that. Not everybody can say that they can do that. And, you know, I mentioned before that you went to Norfolk State. That's where I first read about it. I think I saw it on IG that you were in the movie that won the Oscar. And I was like, oh, wow, that's incredible. And then later I saw the article, and behold, and as you know, I teach at Hampton University, but
shout out to HU. I love HU.
But my daddy was president of Norfolk State for 22 years. So
shout out to your daddy.
Yeah, HBW. So how do you think Norfolk State prepared you for your career today?
I'm going to speak specifically for Zeus Campbell.
Okay.
I learned more outside of the classroom of Norfolk State University on that campus soil.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the city. I'm just saying staying on the soil, just outside of the actual classroom. I learned more about life and learned than I did inside the classroom. And that was because for my particular journey, my talent clearly was lying in storytelling and people and things like that. So Norfolk State helped me because I got to be around people of what it cultured me, to really be honest. I knew nothing about fraternities. I knew nothing. I didn't even know what a fraternity was in Norfolk. And I'm from Norview, and I come specifically from a place called Wellington Oaks. I lived everywhere in Wellington Oaks, Alizé. I went to Norview Elementary, Norview High School, the old Norview. I was the first class to graduate in 2005 from the new Norview, but the old Norview. And I didn't know anything about a fraternity. How is that so? What happened? How is it a child is only a mile or so from education and so distant? And I felt like I was in a third world country. So Norfolk State, for one, the Brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I joined the Brotherhood, and they definitely, educated me and taught me how to wear a suit, taught me how to carry myself as a dignified, African-American Black man and what my responsibilities were. Alpha didn't make me a man. They accepted men. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all the fraternities and sororities at Norfolk State campus because we had a very strong Greek tradition. It was very strong Greeks there when I came in. And because of that, I was able to carry that on. So shout out to Norfolk State because Norfolk State is my family. Norfolk State root for you, like really root for you. Not like, when people root for you, but it's really some opportunist type of vibe there.
Yeah.
Norfolk State, when I come home and my favorite event, and I've been Netflix, events, Oscars, stuff like that. My favorite event is Norfolk State Homecoming.
And I don't think we're going to have it this year.
My heart is broken. However, I don't want us to get sick. And I know that 2021 will be
even better.
Listen, this is going to be a movie. They're going to have to start setting up now.
Wow. Okay. So you were in the band. You were the drum major. So wait, you were Mr. Spartan in the Spartan Legion, like, marching with the stick and everything?
No.
You were playing the drum.
I am. First off,
I was like, hold up with the thing on your head.
I was drum major for Norview High School.
Oh, okay. It
would have been. I always secretly wanted to be
Mr. Spartan.
But here's the thing. I got to be honest. I didn't want to be it for like the whole time. It was way too much work. I just wanted to march homecoming one time, come out on that field because I knew I had the juice. I knew I had the stuff. I knew. And Miss Sanders and Dr. Matthew, y'all over there. Listen, I got the trouble. I'll still outmarch them young people right now. Listen, I still got the juice. But
you do.
But Spartan Legion is my family. Shout out to my rookie brothers and sisters. And I'm a part of the $1 Million Funk Squad, which is the best percussion section that has ever lived in the United States of America, in the country, and the world. So I'm thankful for that. And I do also want to thank, particularly with Norfolk State, I want to thank somebody, Miss Marable at Norfolk State. And everybody knows Miss Marable over there. It's because of her grace and generosity that she saw in me, that she let me into Norfolk State. A lot of people don't know about my story going to Norfolk State. I got offered a scholarship from the band, but I didn't have the grades to get into Norfolk State.
So what happened? What happened, Zeus? What happened? Did your mama do something, Zeus?
You too. You the worst. What happened was my mom, we didn't know. Actually, we didn't find this out. We got a letter. We assumed that I was in Norfolk State because Norfolk State
scholarship.
Exactly. So a couple days before, actually, a day or two before I was graduating. So we actually graduated on Norfolk State campus out of Echoes, I believe. Not Echoes.
Echoes Hall.
Wilder. Echoes Hall. No, not Echoes. What's the other one? Wilder, right across from the
Wilder Center.
Right there, you go.
Yeah. Okay.
In Northview High School, the graduation was at 10 a.m. My mom said, "Come on, let's go." My mom, we got in the car. She said, "We're going to go down to admission." So we got an emergency.
Were they open? Wasn't it like a Saturday or Sunday?
There was a couple people in there, but we had knew Miss Marable. She had knew me and my mom because we were in there trying to get registered like everybody else. And my mom is one of those people where you cannot not know who she is.
Right.
You meet her once, you will know her forever. That's just the type of woman she is. And she said, Miss Marable said, "Okay, let's have a meeting." And she said, "Listen, you don't have the grades, baby. You should go to Tidewater Community College, get your grades up, and you can come back." And I was very calm and I was very honest with her. And my mom was there. I said, Miss Marable, I can't do that. I said, you have to let me in this university right now. She said, "Why?" I said, "Because if you don't, I'm gonna die." And I was dead serious, because in my neighborhood, a lot of my friends were killed. And drunk driving, shootings.
Mm-hmm.
Northview, as well as Norfolk in general, was a dangerous place growing up. And so I didn't want her to think that I was lying, but I had to be honest with my reality.
Right.
And my best friend, and when I say best friend, I mean hang out every day, look up to best friend. He didn't go to college, and I mean he's well off now. He's a great guy now. He's straight now. But I'm saying is he didn't go to college, and he ended up getting into a gang and getting a charge for something that he was never even that kind of person. And he was just didn't have something to do. So I told her. So when she said that, I said, "Well, I'm going to die." And I said, "Well, I got a scholarship from Spartan Legion." She said, wait, you got a scholarship to get into Norfolk State Spartan Legion? She said, "I love the band. And that is not easy to do." She said, "I tell you what, I'll give you one semester." Because I had a 2 negative something, a GPA. She said, I'll let you in. She said, "But if you get anything less than a C or something, a specific average," she got like, it's like 2.5. She said, "I'll throw you out of here." And I got better grades in Norfolk State than I ever got anywhere else.
Wow.
And so thank you, Miss Marable, for giving me a chance. Because if you hadn't, I wouldn't be here talking to Miss Hazelwood.
But that is the story of HBCUs. That is the story of Norfolk State and Hampton and Fisk and Tennessee State and Florida and all of those schools, because they give you the chance, they give you the confidence, they believe in you. I mean, I'm a professor at Hampton, and I take extra care, I believe, or I try to take extra care of my students. I try to meet them where they are and know what they're going through, to try to make sure that they get in and get out, but wow, what a wonderful story. What a wonderful story. She changed your life. She really changed your life.
Well, Miss Marable is an example of what happens when a human being doesn't count out another human being based off of mistakes, physical color, background, because she could have easily discriminated against my background. Let's be clear. Discrimination is not just white people discriminating black people. A lot of African Americans, we discriminate against one another, and we justify it, and that's not okay either. You know what I mean? Murder's murder, no matter who's pulling the trigger. So everybody that's your skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
Exactly. All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up? Anything I didn't ask you?
Yeah, I just want to say, Chaos is sometimes necessary. And I just want to give a beat to people in Virginia. Chaos, and in the world, whomever is watching, change only happens in this country and anywhere else when people get upset. Okay. Now, the way we express that being upset, that's debatable, but we need less judgment. That's for one, because none of us are God. We can debate on what he looks like all day, but none of us are him. Right. And we need to start to listen more and start to focus on the narrative, which is Black community. Let's not get distracted with other people's agenda. Let's just focus on cleaning up our house, y'all. Let's just focus on, getting and I do want to say for all the non-Black people that are out in the streets fighting for us, thank you.
Right.
Thank you. We appreciate your support, you being a true ally. Please continue to do that, because you guys are very important to us, because you can infiltrate change that we don't have rooms and voices to get into right now. So thank you, because I have a lot of white friends, Black friends, gay friends. I love people. I judge people off the mind and heart. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And I encourage everybody to do that. I also encourage us all to self-educate, meditate, and let's start to focus less on chasing things and start to focus on what is our true purpose in this world and live our dreams and not our reality.
Amen. Amen. Oh, I'm so glad I found you. And I'm so glad you agreed to be on my show.
Yeah, we found each other.
I know. And we're going to have to do a drive-by and be like, what's up?
A drive-by.
Yeah.
Not a bad one.
and we're going to have another conversation on Coast Live. So I can't remember the date, but it's coming up. Make sure you watch Coast Live. You're going to be on Coast Live too via Zoom. But I'm looking forward to that too. Zeus Campbell, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.
And I want to thank the audience too for joining us and all of the comments and the questions that you sent in. Thank you so much. And just as Zeus said, sometimes things come out of chaos, but it's important to have the conversation, even if it's in the midst of chaos. I'm April Woodard.